My name is Zella King. I'm from the Henley Business School at the University of Reading. I'd like to welcome you to this podcast about contested terrain in careers. I'm recording this podcast to complement a paper written by me and Kerr Inkson called Contested Terrain in Careers, a Psychological Contract Model. Our paper is part of a special issue on interdisciplinary approaches to contemporary career studies, published in Human Relations in 2011. The podcast is organised into three sections. In the first part, I talk about the motivation for the paper. The second part is in the form of a dialogue where we illustrate an example of contested terrain in careers. And to conclude, I talk briefly about the contributions of the paper. Okay, so let's begin. In August 2007, some Russian explorers placed the Russian flag at the bottom of the ocean on the seabed, underneath where they thought the North Pole would be. The Canadian authorities were not very happy about this because the North Pole is itself an area of contested terrain. Which country actually has the right to own it? We want to extend that metaphor into the notion of careers in employment relations. Now, of course, the idea of contested terrain is not at all unfamiliar in employment relations. Academics have studied for years how workers and their employers seek their own interests within a relationship. Our perspective is that within these considerations, the notion of careers has largely been neglected. What's interesting and important about careers is they extend the contest and the negotiations from immediate considerations beyond towards the long term. Individual employees tend to look at their careers through the lens of personal advantage, thinking about how their work provides opportunities to grow their earnings, to increase their status, or to gain skills and expertise over time. Organisations consider the same careers through the lens of competitive advantage, noting that the careers of their staff may give them a means of developing their expertise, deepening their corporate culture, or securing some kind of institutional memory. The potential for contested terrain arises to the extent that each party fails to take the other's long-term interests into account. We think there's a similar disjuncture in the literature too. On the one hand, you have a group of scholars who are interested in strategic human resource management and its implications for competitive advantage. On the other hand, there is a rich stream of research on vocational psychology, career development, and individual perspectives on career. These literatures rarely cross-refer to each other, and in a sense, they too perhaps have some kind of contest around whose concern is it to think about the career. Our paper is really about why and how it is valuable to reconcile these two perspectives. In order to illustrate the value of thinking about contested terrain and resolving it within employment relationships, I want to transport you now into a setting. Imagine that I am a systems analyst and I'm looking for a freelance contract. I've decided to return to an organisation that I used to work for a few years ago, and I've organised a meeting with the HR director. In the dialogue that follows, you're going to hear each of our perspectives about my career as it was and as it might be now and in the future. And you're going to hear how we try to reconcile our different perspectives into an arrangement which works for both of us.